Hi everyone, I am here with Corey. We are two professional pixel artists, and usually we make videos that involve pixel art or reviewing classic actual 8-bit or 16-bit games, or just games that are very specifically 2D and usually pixel art. But a long time ago, I was one of the backers of this campaign here, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is a modern 3D engine-based game. We'll see if this video playing works. I'll turn the audio down. And basically, one of the original creators that had joined in the Castlevania franchise back with Symphony of the Night, he was one of the programmers and co-director, I believe. He decided he wanted to make another game like the 2D Castlevania games, but he was told by publishers that not enough people would be interested in that sort of a game anymore. So they did a Kickstarter campaign and raised over $5.5 million. So apparently there is still interest in such games. The game, like I said though, while it plays like a 2D game, very much like a Castlevania Symphony of the Night, it uses 3D graphics and a 3D engine for the most part. That's a concept art, I think, there. But we'll be seeing the real game shortly. It just became available on Steam, and I just finished downloading it. So we're about to dive into that. So here's more concept art. And the other cool thing, there's another game that they reached one of their goals. What do they call that? Like if you reach a certain amount of funding beyond, what are these? Stretch goals, that's what it is. One of the stretch goals was to create an entire other actual 8-bit style 2D game, very much like if Castlevania 4 had been made on the 8-bit Nintendo, which is another great game with some pretty nice pixel art. So Corey and I will probably do a video on that game in the near future, even though that game has been out for well over a year. I don't even know exactly how long, but it's been quite a while. So without further ado, let me close these and get my Steam. Hopefully it will actually start. Hopefully we'll get more than a black screen in the near future. Fingers crossed. There's clearly a aspect ratio issue going on, or at least it looks like it there is. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Unreal Engine. Yeah, there's definitely a... let's see if we could get in there and fix the... Alright, well, Xbox controller works. Ooh, it fixed itself.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
right.
Well that's good. That's good news. So we'll just rely on the default settings. Sure, I'm Miriam. Yeah, sure. Normal is fine. Don't want to embarrass myself too badly. It's been a while since I've played Castlevania style game.
Loading.
Industrial revolution ushered in a new era.
Alright. This has got what they called in the olden days talkie. The dialogue there is voice acted. I'm explaining this to Corey because he can't hear my system audio.
In 1783, just as the fires of the Black Revolution plunged all of Europe into ash and darkness.
Well, since we're artists, I might as well say, right now at the moment, while these illustrations are nice, I'm surprised by how kind of clean and graphic and modern and kind of cartoony they went with the style.
Yeah.
I would have imagined a more like ancient gritty black and white photo, or even better, like a parchment illustration, like almost Da Vinci-esque ink cross-hatching would have looked more appropriate for the theme.
Yeah, it's well made, but it feels maybe like a kind of quickly made, sort of comic style. Which is, I mean, for this sort of stuff, I mean, obviously that's not going to be the appeal of the game. So I suppose it's not a huge deal in terms of that.
It's nicely done, but it seems to be a stylistic mismatch for the overall style that you would think they would be going for.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like the illustrations themselves, the proportions, the handling of the fabric, the perspective, everything's very high quality. It's just
Right.
the way they handled the lack of hatching and the kind of intentional dot screening patterns in places instead of using just pure more hatching is what gives it that kind of out of place look. Especially things like this, they're so low detail and so stylized, the monsters, that it's it's just got a much more modern, cartoony style than I would have expected. But very nicely done.
Yeah, I would say when I first saw the first image, I was a little worried, but there were enough of them to really sort of tell the story. So,
Right.
which made. I guess it was that first mountain because there wasn't much in that scene, and I was like, what am I? What's going on? So.
Oh, wow. I just discovered something interesting. Luckily, it's working perfectly on OBS. I need to start looking on my other screen. On my actual screen 1, I've got a purple overlay over the entire game screen, like a purple tint, and a weird flicker sometimes. And I just thought that's how the game looked. And I just looked over on my OBS screen, and it's completely different. There's no purple tinting, and there's no flickering. So there's some kind of conflict going with my. So you're seeing the purple overlay and stuff like that, like because you're seeing that screen,
It doesn't
right?
seem like I am.
Oh, okay. So maybe there's like a conflict going on because I have Skype screen share going and OBS and the game. So my monitor that is showing the weird colors and stuff like that. So, but I can just look over at the OBS screen. So
it definitely looks fine to me. So, but I hope that doesn't make it.
I can literally just look over the there.
Right.
I'm looking at the other screen now, so it's not too bad. Just get the Skype window. Oh, I can't. The mouse is. That's all right. I can live with it.
Very nice little dialogue section here.
I appreciate the fact that the characters themselves, they're not just static portraits or bodies. They actually added some breathing and subtle movement.
And they kind of move forward when it's their turn to speak, and very, very polished.
Yeah. The guys, I don't know. I can't tell if I don't think it's supposed to be a fashion thing yet. This is getting nitpicky, but his shoulders, there's a mismatch. The shoulder that's closest to us is very low and narrow, and his arm back there. Like, I know his posture, his arm is up, but still that shoulder seems oddly beefier, like it's padded or something like that.
This is one of those things where it might look correct to maybe the skeleton of the 3D model, but the way he's rigged or something, maybe it comes off kind of strange with his torso. You know what I mean? So
that's a good question.
That could be what's going on there. Yeah, that's
a good question. Is this a 3D model or is this 2D art that's been modular animated? I can't tell.
It very much looks like a 3D model to me, but I would have to see it moving more, I suppose. So
it's just textured with kind of hand-drawn textures to look more like an illustration. Perhaps that is the case. But anyway, sorry everyone that's that's watching the video to see the gameplay and not hear people comment on the art. So I'm going to skip through this so people can appreciate the story when they get the game. Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, so we're in obviously a boat that is rocking back and forth. Hope no one gets seasick. It's 3D stuff. One problem I always have with stuff like this is the
cool.
with modern stuff, modern 3D games that are doing sort of the 2.5D, things can tend to look a little too clean and little less.
I agree. You want this scene to feel a little more roughed up. Just, I don't know. But at the same time, maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know.
So it's trying to teach me how to do stuff, but I'm an artist and I hate instructions and manuals and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just want to jump in and start my romp.
Alright, so... I've got Kung Fu shoes.
Oh, you put your shoes on your weapon, I think. I don't even know why it allowed you to do that, but...
Who knows, yeah. Body, accessories. Would that be considered an accessory? Nope. Apparently they count as a weapon. Oh, okay. I think if you equip the Kung Fu shoes, then you attack with a kick. I think I saw a kick.
Ah, right. I gotcha.
So now I'll attack with a knife instead, presumably.
A bit confusing, but it makes sense.
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep, so now I'm attacking with a knife. Made short work of that. And I just absorbed the demon power. So I'm very familiar with that from several of the Game Boy Advanced and DS Castlevania games.
Right.
The demon's power was transmuted into that shard. The strength you gained from it.
I thought the procedure.
To comment on these characters, though,
Yeah.
like, they did a really good job of making them look like, 2D drawings,
Yeah.
3D models. I mean, I will give them that.
Yeah, for sure. I still...
Very well done.
It's so much so that I'm still not completely convinced that it's not just a drawn illustration that's being manipulated. In a modern modular tool that can do the mesh deforming type stuff. I really like the shading on her hair, especially just from an artistic point of view. All right, so let's just keep going, moving right along. All right.
Oh.
How do they get inside?
The demons from the castle.
Then they can help.
Okay, I'm just getting used to the controls.
Less talky, more fighty.
Exactly. So yeah, I would have liked it more if there was more randomly placed things like cobwebs and netting and stuff like that that just grittied the place up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Alright, that's just a background lantern that I keep trying to destroy. Those barrels there are surprisingly flat looking because of their shading. Do you see that?
Right,
Like
yeah.
they don't really look like cylinders. Very nitpicky stuff, everyone. My apologies. Okay. So far the controls and the screen scrolling and camera stuff is all extremely familiar for any Castlevania fan.
This device responds to magic.
Okay. I know I should be tilt. Let's see.
Is there
There we
some
go.
sort of...
There we go.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So it's like sort of absorbing the door, or I don't know.
There.
Oh,
No,
there.
it's she's emitting magical energy.
Right.
Oh, this now see this is better because we've got more textural stuff going on.
Whoa. Yeah.
That it makes it look more like what I would hope the more just textured, gritty kind of look. That water, that water falling over the boat and hitting the rain hitting. That's all nice stuff. Oh, and was this the same exact spot or just stay up here? Ooh, that's a nice looking enemy.
Oh, wow. Big guy.
Ouchie.
Yeah, very, very cool design.
Yeah, beautiful colors, beautiful design, nicely textured. That's the way to do it. And sorry, everyone.
And they weren't afraid to
snoring
put this
because I'm
big
looking at
guy
the
right
art.
at the start,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's going to be more and better. But yeah, this, if there's a 3D Castlevania game, this is what I want it to look like. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's much better. Right. Apparently, I have to go down now. Very nice. There we go. Oops. I've been
Mega
playing
Man
too many
slide.
games like Shovel Knight. I keep trying to smash open the treasure chest instead of press up to open it. Oh boy, that looks like a boss fight to me. What do you think?
Yeah.
Let's see. Just want to see what else is around. There's probably chances to get more power. There we go. Level up. It's always handy. So very nice attention to detail. They put a lot of extra work into the particle effects and to make sure that they looked proper in their another shard. I did notice that she actually impales herself through the chest or the heart with the, oh look, you can activate that cannon.
I mean, because there's nothing indicating that shard is like equipped in the HUD.
There we go. Okay, so there's a
there.
trigger button. Okay, so I just smashed my way through here.
Okay.
And but please, everyone that's watching, don't be too judgmental. We're two artists and we're very distracted looking at the art instead of reading the instructions and really paying attention to gameplay. So I can say, as a fan of the Castlevania franchise for a long time, the controls feel excellent, very on point. There's nothing odd or floaty or too abrupt with the jump gravity. All of those things feel perfect. The controls are very responsive.
Yeah, character animation looks very well made, so especially for the main character.
Right. So I mean, I can say, in all honesty, just as like a hardcore 2D artist person and fan of 2D Castlevania games, I'd like this game even more if it were all done in hand-drawn 2D, if it were done by really skilled 2D artists. But
yeah, I agree.
That would have made the budget drastically more. That would have drastically increased the budget of the game and possibly the development time as well. Oh, this is a place to save your progress. It's not a boss fight. Okay, but I'm sure there's one soon.
Yeah, I remember a quote from back in the day of, I don't think it was this guy, but whoever was the actual head of Symphony of the Night at the time. I think that was the original Castlevania creator, right? I believe.
I'm not positive. That's a good question.
But I remember him saying something along the lines of, once they made that game, it was so difficult to create that game because it had so much animation and art that they realized that, you know, as resolutions got higher, they couldn't make those games anymore. That's why they sort of continued along on things like the Game Boy Advance and DS and stuff, because they were low res and they could actually create that art a little bit easier.
Yeah, I knew it was sort of the swan song of the Castlevania series as far as 2D goes. I mean, there were years later the DS games, but they were much smaller in scope. And the art never reached, and in fact they reused as much Symphony of the Night pixel art as they could get away with in those future. Oh, did I just? Yep.
Yeah, and every game, nice. Every game like that afterwards, it did seem like was kind of just a recreation of that game to some extent. You know, like,
certainly,
I wouldn't say that they really innovated very much beyond that point. You know,
they stuck with the winning formula, and they were just kind of smaller versions of Symphony of the Night that usually they came up with one or more gimmicks to make it slightly different, and you had a different protagonist, but definitely they stuck very much with the same same general gameplay and stuff. So I'll save quickly since I gained a hit points max up, I believe. So now we need to figure out where the boss fight is going to be. Slide back under here. Let me know if I missed some kind of obvious path to the left
on that map. Yeah, you haven't been that way yet. Okay. So I don't know if there's anything important over here.
Well, definitely it's somewhere I haven't been yet. So anywhere we've not been, we should definitely go. And keep in mind, everyone, I'm probably making the game look less good and less fun than it really is because I'm not paying attention to what things are trying to tell me. I should probably be going into the menu a lot to equip things. So he's back. Hey there again.
Awesome, dude.
And I'm playing poorly, so keep that in mind, everyone. Alright. So
Yeah,
this is nothing. Okay.
It's this sort of thing that happens with the first impression, you know. Like we haven't really, we have no experience with the game. So.
Right. Is there a harpy up there?
Yeah.
Sort of Cthulhu-like. Alright, here we've been.
Yeah.
I'll just backtrack a little and make sure I didn't miss anything.
Well, yeah. Looks,
I really don't think so. But
yeah, I guess maybe if you check the map and just.
that's a good. Oh yeah, there is something up and there is something down. So let's see if we can do the up one first. Do I have some kind of high jump, or do I have to come? I might have to come from up there.
Right. Might just be an outlet.
Oh, well, I have a water magic. Well,
Yeah.
the sort of Symphony of the Night style high jump doesn't work, so I'm at a loss. If you wouldn't mind on your end, you could maybe do like a Google search for Bloodstained move list or something like that, just to make sure I'm not missing something obvious.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
I think it's called Ritual of the Night, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, let's see.
Another shard.
Let's see.
Okay. The other problem is I have... The map is partly obscured by my Skype window, and I can't move it without temporarily exiting the game.
Right.
So... Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, boy, I'm dumb. I could just look back at the flickery purple screen to see the map.
I'm not finding anything in terms of controls or move list. I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah, down below seems like a dead end, so this seems like the way I need to be going. Oh, yeah, a new enemy type. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah, I
sign.
think since this is newly released, I'm mostly getting things like reviews and
Right.
you know, in my searches.
Oh, apparently I could have just kept going this way somehow. Maybe. According to the map, there's a door here. Yeah, I just missed that door. I just backtracked like a doofus. I'm sure a lot of viewers were yelling at me.
Kind of
that-
making your way now, so
Yeah,
let's.
exactly. Yeah, you can focus back on the art.
Alright.
So yeah, in general, the quality is exceptionally high, and they actually did a better job than most of the official Castlevania games in keeping the visual style appropriate, despite it being 3D. It is
Right.
still, some things are still a little too clean for my liking. But,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it really almost would have just been a matter of just kind of roughing up those textures, you know?
Right, exactly.
So- a little bit, you know? That would have gone a long way. I
More
think.
scratches,
But
more dust, more...
yeah, it's possible that they tried that, and maybe it caused a little too much contrast or something, or the characters didn't look right. I don't know. You know, maybe
Yeah,
there was
I mean-
something jarring there.
That's a good point too. They could have also made the environment a little darker in general and less contrasty, which would have also added, and just atmospheric lighting, like beams, shafts of light going through dusty air. Those sorts of things can really help.
This is very nice scene, though.
Yeah.
I like this. There's some appropriately shaped barrels.
Yes, indeed. Actually looking cylindrical. Okay. I can go up here, it would seem. I have that same exact magic. Oh, I assume that's because I killed them and absorbed the shard. I must have equipped that shard without even noticing at some point.
I gotta say, it looks very fun, though. I mean,
Yeah, it's definitely on
Yeah.
point. I could definitely see myself, which I certainly will, once I free up my work schedule a bit. I'll certainly give the game a full playthrough, as well as the 8-bit sister game. I can't remember, Curse of the Moon or something like that. I think that's the name of it. But like I said, we'll be taking a look at that game some other time. Another save, or it's the same save, but now I've made more progress. So I won't make this video too much longer. I just want people that have not purchased the game to be able to get a first impression very quickly. Now it's been available on Steam, at least where I am in France, for just maybe an hour or two for download. So I just want to get a video up on YouTube pretty quickly so people can see how the finished product is looking. And it's definitely...
I really like the depth of this area, how it kind of goes back there. That's very cool.
Things like the water really give it a more of that atmosphere and grainy look to it that I think is just a better aesthetic for this style of game, for this genre. Ouchie.
Oh.
Oopsie.
Oh.
Take that.
Was that like a demon cannon or something?
Seems to be, yeah.
Pretty cool idea for an enemy, I think.
And they've done a good job so far, despite the 3D and despite the fact that the background itself is a little higher contrast than I would like. It's always clear to me what is a platform that I can walk on or a wall that I'm going to walk into.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So, good job with that. I definitely look forward to getting to another spot to see more enemy variety. So far, there's been a few, certainly enough.
Yeah,
but
that's
since
true.
we're
They've
doing
had
an
the same
art,
sort of handful in this opening.
there's some really good use of. Okay, I need to make sure that shard is equipped. Shard, yeah, flame cannon is still equipped. And then I press. Nope, not that one. Okay, there it is.
Oh, there we go. Is the magic, as far as the controls go, is it kind of wonky? It seems awkward to me, but I don't know. I'm not playing it myself.
It's one of those things where they're trying to put use to a lot more, many more buttons and stuff like that on the Xbox controller. Oh, this is the way back up. We've been here. So
oh yeah, so you kind of circled around.
Yeah.
I guess.
Actually, let me start using my magic.
Oh yeah. Oh, nice.
There we go. Suddenly my game player brain was waking up because I stopped looking at the art since there was no new art. Alright, so there is
I think that
something
might be
up
where
there.
you need
Yeah,
to go
there we go.
back there. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, and this crate can be pushed. There we go. And onward and upward. Let's see if I can hide down here and hit the harpy. It's not quite long range enough. That's quite a few enemies. Have it once. Okay. I think I ran out of... I'm about to die. So when I die, I will just end the video there. So that'll be soon, it would seem. But yeah, see, like this center column with the rope around it, more of that. That's the good stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like even those boards back there, that there's that nice gap, diagonal gap, so it looks a little under repair, and the other side is really busted up, which looks better. But it's just, there's something too clean about it. The highlight on the under, like the lines are a little too straight. There's just not enough visible sort of scratches and dust and maybe a paint mark or something on it. Medieval, not medieval, gothic graffiti, something.
And even
Cinematic.
just
oh, that's nice.
what? Oh yeah, Very, very nice.
I've got to say, I'm not a giant fan of this like really candy-colored stained glass theme that they have going through the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see it when she gets a shard or on this guy's face.
Right.
It's just a little too brightly colored and abstracted.
Make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
If it looked more like real traditional stained glass work that was more representational and didn't have such almost neon pastel colors, if that makes sense,
Right.
I would
right.
like the aesthetic more.
Yeah, I think it was just sort of an attempt to add a touch of uniqueness to the art, but it is a little odd, you know.
Yeah.
Deeper, wait!
I really like the sort of liquid energy effect on the tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Ooh, very, very awesome boss. I think this is where you're gonna die. So.
Oh, definitely. There we go. Right on cue. Right on cue. Okay, we will end it there for this video. There's a good chance we'll make other videos in the future showing more of the game, but overall, very, very nice. Mm-hmm. Any complaints I have with it so far, I have no complaints for the gameplay. The controls are superb. They feel right at home for a Castlevania player. The art overall is at just an absolute AAA quality. Yeah, it did better than Konami themselves as far as translating the 2D games to 3D and having it maintain a high level of quality and staying on the right general style. It still feels a little cold to me, colder than I would like. It's just something about I think that's it more than anything. It's the lack of a unifying atmospheric tone to it. The contrast is too high and the colors are too separate from each other and vivid on any one thing. Like if you look at that, it's really cool designed. Like demonic, it's like a sofa or a love seat with demonic arms around it, and then these wings spread. It's really cool. You see in the real far background the way they have those atmospheric cloudiness going on that gives everything that grayish purple hue. Mm-hmm. I think they should have had more of that everywhere, just more subtly in the foreground to tie everything together. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. One thing that I noticed, like, this is clearly like the standard save room, you know?
Yeah, right.
But like, you got to think you were in this boat, you know, and like suddenly this giant room exists.
Yeah, that cathedral goes on for it. It's one of those doors. It's like Snoopy's house. You know, you go into his house and suddenly it's a mansion in there. It's like every door to a save room is into like a parallel pocket dimension. Because you're obviously in a giant stone cathedral somewhere now.
But yeah, even this room, I mean, it looks like the cleaning crew or whatever just got done with this room. You know, like,
that's the thing.
Like
things are too clean
the
and
feeling
shiny.
you get. Yeah.
And do you see what I mean about, like, each thing? It's like, okay, an artist worked on this texture, and it's nice. And in itself, it has a decent amount of texture. But then you've got like the clean separation, and then you've got the next 3D shape, and it's got its texture. And there's just, if it were like hand painted by someone that were really trying to create this really dangerous, dark, gothic environment, there would be this cohesive, the shading, the lighting, the atmospheric diffusion, cobwebs, all of these things. There would be scratches going across one surface and then onto the other. All of those sorts of things are what makes something feel more cohesive, and that's a big risk when you're using a 3D engine to do a sort of 2D game. Is each thing still looks too separate from each other because it's a separate 3D model with totally separate textures, and then so that's the thing where you can really compensate for that is when the artists are making the textures, they can make sure there's an overall unifying hue to everything so that you feel that ambient light affecting the color of everything and balancing it all out together more. And then just in general, if they went with a more shadowed, just that atmospheric look, like make the air feel like it has particles in it and that it's reflecting and refracting light, especially with the far background. It's got that in spades. It's got a lot of that. If they had carried that into the foreground and made it drastically more subtle, and then had, like, you know, they're called God rays, like just the shafts of light filtering through certain things. Or
yeah, that would have
like,
gone a long way for this
Yeah.
couch here, you know,
Exactly.
just kind of shining right on that seat, you know.
Right. But yeah, so that, yeah, it's everything is. It looks like it's supposed to be old, and like it's this area where there's monsters. So there's obviously not a maid service, but everything feels too clean, and a big part of that is because everything is quite specular, meaning shiny, which makes it look freshly polished, and everything is so separate from each other. You certainly don't feel like there's any kind of layer of dust in general
Right.
on stuff. So, but again, this is nitpicky stuff. They did a great job. I'm just saying, potentially with a little more attention to that specific idea, they could have made it even more atmospheric and foreboding and gothic. In that,
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Looks very fun though.
oh yeah, very high quality. I could not be happier with the gameplay in general. I actually like it. Shortly after backing the game, when I started seeing the work in progress stuff, it was obviously less done, so there were fewer textures and they had less time to work on them, and they had even less atmospheric effects, and I was really worried that I was going to not like the aesthetic of the game at all. But it definitely, I'm not worried anymore. I know I'll be able to enjoy the game from a gameplay standpoint and an aesthetic standpoint. Even though, like I said, there's just that nitpicky thing where they're going with that clear, that stained glass theme is obviously kind of something that's supposed to be a theme specific to and universal to this game. And it's just more kind of candy and slightly childish than I wish it had been.
Right. Right.
You know, like I'm used to seeing like some amazing actual Gothic stained glass that you can see what it's representing, and it's usually obviously biblical stories and archangels and all this other cool stuff, and the colors were rich but not those kind of neon pastel-y colors, and so yeah, that's a thing of personal taste. Obviously, other people might love that look.
Yeah.
But anyway, overall, clearly they've got some really cool designers for both costume and the monsters and stuff like that. There's some really cool stuff going on. The architecture is also very nice. So anyway, that's it. I won't beat a dead horse going on about how I just wish it were a little more unified with a kind of gloomy, atmospheric look to tie everything together a bit more. But anyway, so do you have any final thoughts before we wrap this video up?
No, from what we saw, I mean that's pretty much all we could say as far as the art goes. I think the game looks very fun. I wish I had backed it. To be honest with you, but yeah, it's pretty cool though. But very high quality. A lot of talented people obviously worked on this.
So yeah, it's for all you people that are watching purely as fans of the Castlevania series and people that were interested in this particular game Kickstarter. It definitely, if you're a Castlevania fan, especially Symphony of the Night or the later DS and GBA games, it would be hard to imagine you'd be disappointed. The gameplay controls are very on point, and obviously the quality is very high. So we will end the video here. Thanks very much for watching.